Assalamu alaikum, peace be with you. Thank you for joining me for this continuing discussion on 30 reasons for being Muslim. Today, the reason I want to explore is the fact that Islam gives us a sense of purpose. Let's step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture and see where the problem lies. Often, a youth may say to their parents, well, I never asked to be born. That's often an angry kind of retort when the parents remind them of their favor. And yet, the question of why was I born in the first place? This is a question that plagues not only youth, but also all of us. We want to know, why are we here in the world? Do we have a purpose for our existence? Does the world itself have a purpose for its existence? Now, science does not seem able to answer this question because scientists can study the way things are working and the way they're happening now, but they can hardly touch upon why things are here in the first place to be studied. So the question of reason and purpose, this seems to come from philosophy and theology, and it is there that we need to turn. And yet, when we turn to philosophies and theologies, we find that there are so many ideas out there. It's bewildering. When I look at all the various answers that come from these sources about why we are here in the world, we get so many answers that had it not been for the clarity and simplicity of the Islamic faith on this issue, I would find myself pretty much lost. And perhaps the same thing is happening with you. So let us then turn to see what Islam prescribes or suggests to us is the reason for our existence. Well, 3 verses of the Quran come to mind in this regard. The first is in Surah 51, verse number 56. And you must have heard this verse many times in Friday sermons and so on, and in mosque lectures. It says, "Ma khalaqtul jinna wal insa illa liya'budun." We have not created jinn and humankind except for them to worship me. And that is a statement of purpose. We were created for the worship of God or for serving God. Okay, so leave that idea parked for a moment, and we come to another one. So Surah 2, verse number 30, speaks about Adam being created. And before his creation, God says to the angels, "Inni ja'ilun fil ardi khalifa." I'm going to place a khalifa upon the earth. Khalifa means representative, or it can mean successor. And usually that refers to a person who is there to take care of things in the absence of another. Well, God is never absent, but God places Adam, and by extension human beings, in this world in order to take care of God's creation. So that's another sense of purpose right there. And thirdly, I want to look at Surah 11, verse number 119. This verse says, "Illa man rahima rabbuk," except those on whom God is merciful. وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ, and it's for that reason that He created them. So here we have a reason, a purpose why we are here. God created us for His mercy. So let's put the 3 ideas together, putting these 3 verses together. First, God created us to worship Him or to serve Him. Second, God created us to take care of His creation. And third, God created us for His mercy. It seems to me that the way these all fit together is to say that when we serve God and when we serve God's creation, we then attract the mercy of God to ourselves. We receive God's mercy, which is the reason why He created us in the first place, to give us of His mercy. But He is testing us to see, would we serve Him? Would we serve His creation? So now, with this sense of purpose, we are poised to make the world a better place. And that, to me, is a very good reason for being Muslim. How does it make the world a better place? And how does it make us better persons? First of all, with this sense of purpose, we have the feeling we can go out there and do things in the world. If we were to follow a nihilistic type of doctrine, we would think there is no purpose. We're just here in a universe which popped into existence some 13.8 billion years ago, and it will eventually collapse back on itself into, a big crunch. And that will be the end of the universe. And we're just in the middle stage in between the super explosion that gave rise to it in the first place and the big crunch that will follow in the end times. So between expansion and collapse, we're just there in the middle stage. So we, just as the universe doesn't seem to have any purpose, we ourselves do not seem to have any purpose. But when we think, as Islam teaches us to think, that we do have a purpose, and our purpose includes serving creation, naturally we're going to be good to God's creation, and that will make the world a better place. Of course, it makes us better persons because instead of being depressed and thinking we're here for no reason, and then people try to make up reasons, they think, let's eat and drink and be merry. Well, what makes us different from the animals, which are also trying to sustain themselves and to procreate? Well, by having this sense of purpose for which God created us, we know that we are special beings in God's grand plan. And by having this sort of self-esteem, we can go out and not only do good to God's creation, but we feel good inside. We become better persons on the whole. So that's my reason for being a Muslim. The fact is that we have the sense of purpose by following the Islamic faith. So join me again tomorrow for another reason for being a Muslim in the continuing series on 30 Days for Being Muslim. Thank you for watching. Peace be with you. We're taking Let the Quran Speak to the next level by establishing the Muslim Media Hub. This Ramadan, please support us to help us get this project off the ground. Please visit QuranSpeaks.com.